everybody. Welcome to the Web3 Business Show brought to you by Tokominds. My name is Rob, and I'm joined today here, as usual, by my colleagues Kay and Edgar. Hello, guys.
Hi everyone.
And we have a special guest today, Sammy. Hello, welcome. Sammy is a serial entrepreneur with various big assets, and right now he is the co-founder of Degen Distillery, which is building the future of RWAs and consumer crypto through partnerships with Google and Brewdog. Happy to have you, Sammy. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
All right, let's go right into it. Ed, can you kick it off?
First I would like to ask, how does the TAP incentivize the ambassadors to actively promote Degen Distillery products?
So we've seen in Web3 already that Web3 has proven the power of incentives, right? And I'm sure you've heard it all before, and people have previously mentioned it multiple times. But Charlie Munger's famous quote was, "Show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcomes." So what we do with TAP is we've noticed, and we've been in the crypto industry for a while, and we've seen that it is really that the communities that push these protocols, these brands, these platforms forward. But there is only essentially currently a financial incentive within a lot of these projects for token price appreciation. So we thought, well, if we're going to launch a distillery, a physical distillery, and if we do launch and manufacture a product in the UK, how do we get global distribution for a physical product with a global community? So the route forward for us was TAP. We built TAP, and the incentive is to allow those community members to take part in the sales process and the listing of our physical products. So those ambassadors essentially are business development leads, sales, a global decentralized network of salespeople for us. And the incentive purely is if they onboard accounts are pubs, restaurants, shops, grocery stores, supermarkets, festivals, events, whatever they are. If they onboard those accounts for us, we will digitally attach those accounts to individual NFTs to allow those individuals to tokenize and own part of that revenue forever. So there's a common misconception within Degen Distillery, which people believe our RWA is our physical product. Our RWA isn't our vodka, isn't our spirit. Our RWA is you as a community member being able to tokenize the revenue that you create and own that and then trade that.
Basically the RWAs that you are marketing are not actually the physical products that you offer. Instead, it's the users that invest in your product.
It's the tokenization of the sales contract, which is the RWA. So if you think about it in classical sales, in businesses or corporations, most individuals get paid pounds and pence, dollars and cents, whatever it is. That essentially is a receipt for your time. Most individuals create value for businesses, but they're only creating value for the shareholders. In our model, as you create value, as you onboard accounts, you tokenize part of that revenue stream forever. Nobody can take it away from you, and then you can sell it on a secondary market, you can trade it, you can leverage it within DeFi, etc.
Okay, that's actually great. Also, I have another question. I think that you have your own ambassador wallets. How they actually function within the TAP ecosystem?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily have our own ambassador wallets, but we are able to create wallets for new users who don't necessarily have a MetaMask, a Phantom, or whatever it is. So it sort of tracks how a normal user would join the ecosystem. So if you already have a MetaMask and you're already storing one of our NFTs in your MetaMask or your Web3 wallet or your non-custodial wallet, then the TAP ecosystem works exactly the same. all we do is we allow easy, seamless onboarding for people who don't have a wallet, who don't understand crypto. And we do that through a few partners that we haven't fully announced that we're working with just yet. So if we're looking to lead consumer crypto, we think that by leading consumer crypto as well, onboarding, UI, etc., is a big focus for us.
Okay, great. That's all for my questions. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Kay. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So Sammy, hi Sammy. So you've mentioned something about future of RWAs, and also you've discussed something about the community. So for my first question, in your view, what are the most significant trends in the future of real-world assets, and how is Degen Distillery positioning itself to capitalize on these trends?
Yeah, so I think your listeners as well will probably know that everybody is talking about RWAs for this year and for next year. However, the way we see it is a lot of these real world assets that are being tokenized are currently shares or being discussed to be tokenized. Shares, property, housing, real estate, etc. That is all great, and we take nothing away from that and those pioneers that are leading in that space. But what does technology usually do? It transforms industries. It unlocks new ways of thinking, new business models. So when we say we're the future of RWAs, we believe that because we believe that individual tokenization of sales contracts and being able to own sales contracts and own value and then leverage that value within DeFi, that is an unlock that blockchain allows, and that is us that is pioneering that. So we see the case, and there's a very bullish case for the tokenization of all shares, the tokenization of all real estate, the tokenization, etc. But that doesn't really allow for new business models and new ways of thinking, and being able to decentralize global sales forces like us. So we think it's the future because it's not been done before.
All right. Okay. And Sammy, you've mentioned about the community engagement earlier, right? So what key data metrics does Degen Distillery analyze to drive marketing decisions? And I've checked your social medias, and they have pretty decent followers and engagement. So what are other key data metrics, and how do you optimize community engagements and product distribution?
Yeah. So right now, at the moment, we are still in the early days of launching product. We only just actually launched physical product 2 or 3 weeks ago through some partnerships with festivals. We are continuing to do that through the summer. So we don't have direct data on sales just yet, but we keep an eye on all social platforms. We have social listening tools. We work with partners who are able to also digest and analyze a lot of the feedback that we have through content, through user-generated content, not only on Twitter but on Instagram, on TikTok, etc. And we keep very close to community feedback. We do a lot of private calls, group calls with token holders, NFT holders, and just other than the usual stuff of tracking growth and tracking email signups and etc. I think it's a lot of manual at the moment. It's very labor intensive and it requires a lot of moderation and community management in terms of reporting directly into us on ideas, on feedback, etc.
All right. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. So that's it for me, Sam and Rob.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Kay. So Sam, you mentioned a couple of partnerships, right? I'm not sure which ones you're already in liberty of announcing, but what kind of partnerships are we thinking of here, and what will they offer basically for DJ Distillery?
Yeah, so our two biggest partnerships are BrewDog and Google. We are partnered with a few other Web3 businesses and smaller Web2 businesses, but the biggest ones are BrewDog and Google. BrewDog essentially allow us to or work with us to do all of our liquid production, our bottling, our labeling, manufacturing. They help us with logistics, supply chain, etc. Now that allows us to stay relatively lean. As a physical product business, we had two decisions. Did we want to create our own distillery, build our own physical distillery and physical infrastructure, or did we want to partner with somebody else? When we had realized we stumbled across something potentially really significant in tap, just to mention as well, our plan is to use Degen Distillery to prove the concept of tap before we open tap to allow any other business to use. So once we realized the magnitude of tap, we had to look for an external partner to help us with the physical side. So BrewDog, as I mentioned, they do they help us with the entire physical side of the business. So we as a lean team can concentrate on brand building, community building, proof of concept, and then scaling that concept. BrewDog also help us in terms of scaling sales, opening new sales channels across the UK, Europe, the whole world. Just for context, if any of your listeners are unsure who BrewDog are, they are one of the fastest growing alcohol brands on the planet. They are one of the most disruptive alcohol brands on the planet. They also hold the Guinness World Record for the largest ever equity crowdfunding campaign, raising about £100 million, so $140 million, $150 million to finance their business. So they were built similarly through community, and that community allowed them to expand to a $2 billion company. They also produced 350 million cans of beer last year. So they have huge scale, international scale. So that allows us to really accelerate really quick. Our goal is to be the world's fastest growing spirits brand by proving tap and proving community integration into business models, into sale models, etc. I just mentioned earlier the scaling side of things. We want to scale that technology
audience,
once we've proven the initial concept. We do that through a partnership with Google. Google help us fund the tech, fundraise for the tech. They help us through a ton of networking activation opportunities, and then in the future, once we are looking to onboard new clients and enterprises, etc., Google will also help sell that technology for us.
Great. And as a kind of inspiration to our audience, maybe fellow experts in the field, can you share any challenges that you had on the road so far, and any tips for how to deal with them, how to succeed in this space?
I don't know whether it's the space specific or just in general, but we've had in the startup of this, we had a lot of challenges, mainly to do with the market itself. So we were launching, or not launching, but we were really starting to package everything for investment and try and get to market around the whole FTX collapse a couple of years ago. That was incredibly challenging. There were maybe 3 to 5 independent occasions where we were convinced that the business couldn't go any further, that we were going to struggle to find any revenue, any interest, because blockchain and just talking about Web3 and NFTs and tokens outside of the few people that were left on crypto Twitter and crypto LinkedIn, it was like hitting a brick wall. Nobody was interested in talking. But I think that the only reason we got through it was sheer belief, sheer sort of determination. There's so many cases where experienced business people will tell you to never put every penny that you have into a business, because then if it doesn't work, you have no way out. But that is what we did. We put everything in. I was very close. But bear this in mind, I've had multiple successful exits and previous businesses up to 30 million, but I was very close to not having somewhere to live, to potentially having to go back, move in with my parents. So it was the sheer belief that we knew what we were doing and we were onto something relatively special. So we just kept going and going and going and going. And luckily we started to pick up the Google partnership. We started to pick up just a little bit of revenue here and there. And then that was proof enough for us to keep going. It was still very, very tough until the end of last year and beginning of this year. And then, as everybody in Web3 and crypto knows, markets turn, and they turn very quickly. And then luckily at the beginning of this year, we were there for the market to turn positive and bullish. And we had done a lot of work and groundwork into building the technology, building the partnerships, building that community, very painstaking building the community by speaking to people one-on-one and doing Google calls and Google Meet calls and Zoom, etc. And then when the market turned at the beginning of this year, we were able to raise pretty significant capital because we had all of the foundations that were necessary through the bear market.
That is amazing. Quite a story, quite an inspirational story, and very, very interesting. Also, your point regarding that most people will advise never to put your eggs in one basket, but then again, the best entrepreneurs in history did that, right? Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, all of those big guys, they never always had their back against their wall, and that's the only way to actually achieve amazing results. That is the paradox of life and reality in a way. I think there's an English saying, it goes something like luck, like something like the bold are more lucky. I'm not sure what the correct English saying is. You probably know that better than me, but yeah, that's the gist of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think something to do with boldness favors the brave, or whatever it is, bravery falls.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But listen, it is true, because if you listen to or watch stuff like Shark Tank and Dragon's Den and all of these TV shows with investors and people pitching and it's like, yeah, I remortgaged my house. This is my full life savings, and everyone's in so much shock. But I actually believe, and this isn't advice, because I think the problem here is it's very tricky when you say this to other people. But I actually believe if we weren't all in, if we didn't have no other choice, then we probably would not be here, because we would have just had another job or another business to fall back on, and we would have just closed it a year ago. But because we had no other option, we just had to keep going and going and going and going. And I think that's the reason why we're here, and that's the reason why we raise so much money, and that's the reason why we're hopefully about to have a pretty successful token launch and hopefully pioneer the future of RWAs and consumer crypto, like I said at the beginning.
Yeah, you must have had an enormous amount of learnings from that, especially starting in this fundraising environment around the FTX collapse and BlockFi, Celsius, etc. Do you have any specific tips for fellow, let's say, entrepreneurs in the fundraising around a Web3 firm, especially regarding all the learnings that you guys have learned?
Yeah, so I think in Web3, in Web3, that it's not like traditional fundraising at all. So I've done traditional fundraising, and again, I've raised pretty significant capital in traditional fundraising. It's not traditional fundraising by any means. There is no need for data rooms and years of financial track record or 5-year financial models, etc. Web3 fundraising is about one thing, really, I would say, is hype and FOMO and whatever. Now, you could say that's a good thing, or you can say that's a bad thing. The participants within Web3 want to be able to see traction, and it is traction and traction alone. So I would say whoever is looking to start raising some funds, you need to show user base, you need to show community, you need to show growth, and you need to show a little bit of hype and a little bit of FOMO, and you need to also be able to work with the right people to help structure your round. There are some great advisors out there who can intro into huge parts of the essential Web3 liquidity pool. And once you have some funds in I call it the bank, it's not obviously the bank. Once you have some funds in the Web3 wallet, you are a lot more attractive to other investors. And I think also one tactic that we used pretty strong was to severely limit the amount of investment that we took in. So we had offers of tickets for 500k for $1 million tickets, and after going through 18 months of hell, it was very hard to do this, but we would turn them down because we didn't want people to feel that there was too much, there was too many whales inside the project, and two, that we would accept any ticket for any reason. So our tactic was to turn around and essentially say no to all the big tickets and try and get them to come in for 30k, 40k, 100k tickets, to be able to dictate the terms on our side. So I would say, to summarize, I think there was a few different pieces, but to summarize, drive a lot of traction, drive some hype and FOMO, work with people who have experience in Web3 fundraising, and dictate the terms yourself. Don't allow other individuals, VCs, angels to tell you how much that they want to put in. You should be saying, we want to take 50k from you, 30k from you, etc. It gives the investor more of an air of like confidence and control.
Got it. Thank you for those tips. We're almost running in the end here. Ed and Kay, do you have any other questions for Sammy for this episode?
No, on my end.
Yeah. All good on my end.
All right. Okay, thanks guys. Thank you to Sammy, highly appreciate it. This is the final last question before we end. We ask this to all our guests. Do you have anything to share for, let's say, maybe projects that are still a little bit more early stage than you guys, didn't raise so much money yet? What would you say to them, maybe to give them some motivational boost?
I'd say just keep going. So there is one thing that always sticks in my mind, and I can't remember the exact saying, but is whether you believe you can do it or you believe you can't do it, either way you're right. If you believe you can do it, you're probably right. If you believe you can't do it, you're definitely right. So you should just keep going and believe that you can do it, because I know we haven't spoken too much on my history, but I started an oil and gas company when I was 18. I had no idea what I was doing. I scaled it to 30 million. I then moved into tech. I had no idea what I was doing. I exited. I then moved into events, and I went from industry to industry to not knowing what I was doing at the beginning, but just believing that I could do it and figure it out. So my one advice would just be believe that you can do it, because the chances are that if you really 100% believe it, you can do it.
That is beautiful. That is amazing. I think that hits the right place for a lot of people. Thank you so much, Sammy. Appreciate it. Hopefully see you in the next episode, and thanks everybody for watching. Bye guys.